Hey guys, we're going to be talking about complex communication needs.
Hi guys, when we talk about complex communication needs, we're talking about individuals who can't use speech alone in an everyday communication. So, one of the quotes that I love is having an effective communication system influences the success of our personal interactions, our involvement in activities, and our ability to make decisions. So keep that in mind when you're working with individuals with complex communication needs. The two sites up here that I have are great resources to use and give a lot more information on what it means to be an individual or someone working with someone that has complex communication needs.
When we talk about AA systems, we're talking about augmentative and alternate communication. And this is just an umbrella term that's used to describe various methods of communication that people with complex communication needs use to reach the outside world. The important thing to remember about AAC methods is that they vary and they can be individualized to meet each person's needs. Forms that we're going to talk about today are Touchpoints, visual boards, and facial and gestural expressions. And these are things that we use every day in school, so your students should be familiar with them. We're going to go over these because they're easier to do at home and they're low tech. Linda Burkhart, I put her link down at the bottom of the page, is a great resource to use for different forms of communication. So check her out.
Hi guys,
The
it's
important
Miss
thing to
Mills
understand
here.
about
I'm going to be
Touchpoints is
talking
that they're a great
today
way
about
for your
touchpoints.
students to
Touchpoints
make
are an
choices.
easy way for
And if for
our
whatever
students
reason the
with
video
complex
doesn't play on
communication
your
needs to be
player,
able to
there is a
say what
link
they
at the
want, to
bottom of the page.
express what they
Please
want
click
or
on
their
it
needs.
and you can watch
So I'm
the
going to give
video
you a
on
few
YouTube.
examples of what that might look like. And one of the things that you need to know about touchpoints is that these are very gentle touches to different parts of the body. So you know your individual best and you know what areas of their body they can access most easily and repeatedly. So, for example, some of my students or individuals that I work with can access moving their heads this way, and this way. So, a way I might do my touch points when asking a question is A, B, or C. Now, I'll give you an example of what I mean. If I'm going to ask someone, what's your favorite color? Red, green, or something else? Now, the important thing about adding the something else is that you're allowing that person to have even more choices. So if they say something else by moving their head down, then you can come up with different colors altogether. So the important thing is that you reach your individual the best that they can communicate. So it might look something like asking a question and giving choices A, B, or C. It could also look like giving them hand choices. Perhaps you'll put out A, B, and tap their knee for C. Something like that. So if your student has more mobility with their hands, being able to give them options of A, B, or C. So if the student is able to reach in those different levels or look in those different areas, you'll know what choice they've made. I hope this helps. Bye.
Here's some more resources about Touchpoints, and the first resource is another YouTube video done by Miss Winsink, a Colerain teacher. It's really good, so I would check it out. So touchpoint activities that you can do, really it's anything that you can turn into a question with options can become an activity for your student. I've gone ahead and listed a few down here. So these can be everyday questions or they can be geared more towards subjects that they're learning in school. And like the video said, the important thing is giving the option of something else. So that way you give your student the ability to express if they want something besides the other two options that you've given.
Here's an example of what a visual board can look like, but these can also look much simpler. And there are copies that I can give out if you require one. So the most important thing about visual boards is that you're giving information at a glance and you're letting your student answer whatever questions you may have by using pictures and either gesturing or using a device to be able to pick what picture they want. And another thing that you really want to make sure you're doing when you use visual boards is you're modeling for your student. Here are some more examples of what activities you could do with your students using different visual boards. They can be complex and be on devices, or they can be something as simple as first this, then this.
So here's another video on facial and gestural expressions. And again, the link below is to YouTube. So if for whatever reason this video isn't working on your player, feel free to go on YouTube and watch it. Talk to you about facial and gestural expressions. So a lot of individuals do use facial expressions and gestural expressions to express their wants and needs.
Here's another video
Here's
done
another
by Miss
video on
Winsink, a
Facebook done
Colerain
by Miss
teacher,
Winsink, a
that
Colerain
describes how to
teacher,
use yes/no
about facial
questions with your
expressions and
student.
gestural expressions.
Great activities to do with your student that allows them to practice their communication skills is using our PBIS program that we're using at school for our behavioral, emotional, and social well-being. So this is just being able to ask your student what color they're on, how they're feeling, and letting your student practice what those feelings might look like or how to read those feelings and emotions on other people's faces. Here's some more activities that you can do to improve core language for your students with complex communication needs. Here are several apps that can be downloaded onto different devices in order to help reach students who have visual limitations and or physical limitations along with the complex communication needs.
So remember, you guys, these systems are not new to your students, so they should be pretty familiar with them and be able to use them at home, but make sure you're using whatever system that you feel most comfortable with. Here's some more resources and sources that were used to put this PowerPoint together. They'll all help with different questions that you may have, but I encourage you to contact your student's teacher or their therapist. Hope this has helped.